Hey Dills. Hey Heartless. This is the, resident Snowflake of the Wild Clan. Been listening to the podcast for maybe 2 or 3 years at this point, and I enjoy it every time I get to put it on for a long drive or working out in the garden. Yeah, that's all I have to really say, and I guess I'll see you all at the end of my rune crafting celebration party, which could be a couple years. Bye.
Welcome to episode 231, I think. I haven't checked and I kind of forgot right before I said it. Let's hope it's 231 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dills and joined as usual, Heartless. How are you?
Yo, what's up, Dills?
I know, it's like, 2-3 weeks in a row?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Crazy. 2023. What a great start.
Year of the Wilderness Podcast.
Yeah. So we got some fun things to talk about today in terms of news. We got a more fleshed out dev blog on forestry, which is like this new... They talked about during the Winter Summit where they talked about the big updates to expect in 2023. So we got the first dev blog for forestry, which is supposed to be a fun and social way to woodcut. So they shared some ideas, and it looks interesting. It looks interesting. And then we got a poll blog with not a whole lot, but they spilled the beans on the drop rates of the wildy bosses, and they let us recolor elven gear. That's most of it. And of course we have an update on the future of official account builds as well. Heartless, I know you are addicted to your Iron Man. I like to dabble into other types of accounts from time to time. But this is like the third blog we got about the official account builds, and it's not going well. It is not going well. So for that segment, I wanted to bring on someone who is more well-versed in the Snowflake accounts, because I don't even really know what's going on there, but it doesn't seem like anyone is really into this anymore. So I'm curious to know what's going on there. But Heartless, this has been a kind of a big week for you, I believe.
Yeah, dude, it's been good. I got the master combat achievements completed this week. So.
The master, one more to go for the Grandmasters. But I saw you post some of the new swag you got.
Yeah,
on
nice.
Discord.
The Verzik helmet, so the purple Verzik helmet, and then you get to upgrade your Vernik Defender to like a red trimmed one. It's pretty sick.
It looks cool.
Yeah, there's a couple other rewards too. There's like your thralls last longer. Yeah. It's fun. The rewards aren't huge. They're mostly cosmetic, but yeah, it was a fun challenge.
Fair enough. How was it to complete it? Did you have a good time trying to get those last
some of them
done?
Were a lot more fun than others. Like it ends up making you kind of like the Inferno. We talk about how the Inferno makes you a much better player. A lot of these things do too. Like they force you to just get better at certain things. So my last task was a solo CM in under 45 minutes.
Ooh,
and
nice.
I'm pretty comfortable with challenge modes and solo normal Ulm, so it was just a bit of practice. I got on my third try, so I was quite happy with it. Every
cool.
time I was lobbing off like 5 minutes from my times. So, and in the end, even though it was like a calamity raid, I ended up being quick enough in all the rooms that I had plenty of time to finish Ulm, and I had a friend helping me out. So, yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. Yeah, the combat tasks have been around for a little bit. I think that came in. It was 2020, 2021?
Yeah.
Probably 2021.
I think it was, 2021.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a way because people were feeling bored and a little burnt out. And this was a way to like make some of the boss fights we already know a little bit more, I want to say fresh. That's probably not the best word to use, but you kind of have to go into some fights with different techniques.
Yeah,
now,
it gives endgame players like something to strive towards.
Yeah. And it's not something that I really do too much. I might do it passively when I'm doing Slayer and I come across a boss and I might like, okay, let's see what tasks I need to do. Can I actually do it? Quite often I see a task that I'm like, I'm not even going to try that. So I don't really go for the tasks too much just because, I don't know, just not something that's on my sights right now.
No, totally. You got other stuff to do, and that's fair. Like some people don't engage with them at all and some people do. It's all good.
Yeah. It's nice to give you like if I'm at I got a Hydra task right now, and there's a combat task, which is like kill 15 Hydras without leaving the room. So it makes it a little bit fun to try to really min-max be as efficient as possible, do as much damage as possible, just try to be as good of a player as I can be to see if I can get that achievement. So it's kind of fun in that sense. But now that you're kind of in the thick of things, like what are your feelings toward the tasks right now? How did you feel going through the master tasks?
So they're a big step up from Elite. I completed Elite sometime in the spring. Masters, at least you can basically do by yourself, but Masters is when you start to get into team related tasks. And that can be a controversial topic because they're like combat achievements for your account. Some people think they shouldn't have team based things, especially when you get into the Grandmaster and the times start to get really tight. Like everyone has to not make mistakes. Personally, I quite like the team content. I think it's fun to go through trials and tribulations with friends because like ultimately for me, this is a social game and that's how I like to play it. So they do align quite well with my personality, but I can see if you're a bit more introverted or don't like jumping on voice too much, that combat achievements can be a lot more challenging to complete. And they're looking at reworking some parts of it for that. So anyways, but overall, my opinion is I do like them. Some of them are kind of stupid, some of the tasks, but overall, I think it makes you engage with the game in a positive way. Like you have to practice your skills and get better. Some of them are dumb and you have to just brute force them. But I think some of the skills are really well designed, or some of the tasks. It was fun. I especially liked the team ones, but obviously I think the hardest part of combat achievements is three main things you need. You need the skill, you need the friends, and you need the gear. So you can buy the gear, just takes time.
You can kind of buy the friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically you can buy the friends. Some of the tasks, the GM tasks, we'll talk about in a second. So then there's the friends and then there's the skill. You can learn the skill. That just takes time and practice. Same with like gear. You can just buy it over time. But yeah, friends can be tricky, like if you're not as social. But I am lucky enough to have a group of friends who are, some of them grandmasters already. So
nice.
They're able to help me out with certain tasks. And there's other people in the clan that have been, dipping their toes into like master level CAs. So yeah, it's been overall like a really fun experience. Ups and downs, but I think that's kind of reminded me of Inferno in that way. Like you're achieving something, and it's kind of rare that you work towards something like that in a game like RuneScape. Because when everything is RNG, the combat tasks have RNG elements, but they're not really RNG. They're mostly just practice and skill, and then friends involved too. So anyways, cool. Overall I enjoyed it.
It's great.
And I was celebrating pretty hard when I got the last task.
Was it like the feeling you got from completing it, is it comparable to the Inferno completion?
Yeah, no, it's not the same level because Inferno takes so much out of you, and it's such a big step up from nothing, like whatever you're doing before. Whereas this is a big step, but you get to like practice and you're not like pressured as much because you don't have to do all the tasks at once. You can take a break and come back to them. I think I was sitting on 4 tasks for like almost a month.
Yeah, true.
Whereas like Inferno is a little bit more pressury. It's like you get the item or you don't get it.
When you're finishing that last task, are you nervous? Are you shaking?
I was nervous.
Level?
I'm usually I would say my best part of Chambers is my Olm. I say I'm very good at Olm. I can do solo Olm in a regular CM with no bruise.
Nice. Wow.
Maybe,
okay.
And I can I could probably even survive head phase if I won 0. But like, let's say if I had 1 brew, I would feel pretty comfortable that I could get through a regular solo Chambers without dying.
Okay.
So that's
pretty good.
It's just patterns. Like when you get used to it enough, he doesn't really hit you too much. But in challenge modes, he hits way harder. He can hit almost 50. Yeah, big boy. So I was chancing it a lot. I went in with 6 doses of brew, and I ended up dying in the 3rd phase. I had a Blood Fury on too, so that was helpful.
Okay.
And purple sweets that I was absolutely munching on in between. So there was definitely. But then as soon as I died, I started just shambolic. I ended up resetting. It is this thing at Ulm where at the very end, you want to kill the hands at the same time. So you get one really, really soft down to like 5%, a couple hits left. And then the other one, then you work on that and then you kind of kill them at the same time. So I did that. I got one of his hands really low. I worked the other one down and killed it. And then I had like 7 or 8 hits with my lance to kill the melee hand. I hit a 0 every time.
Oh my god!
So it
that's the
reset,
worst.
and then I was like, "No, this is cringe." I was be so mad, but I ended up having enough time to kill it again. So got lucky.
Oh, that
So the masters
that's
are
pretty good.
definitely they have some wiggle room.
Yeah, like the worst for anyone who's listening might not be familiar with Ulm. That last or Chambers of Zarek in general. There's a last fight. It's this Ulm, this dragon-looking creature. Got the head and you got the 2 hands. But for most of the fight, you're fighting the 2 hands until the very end when the 2 hands get, I don't know, fucked up. They go away and then you're facing his face. But yeah, as you're mentioning, that final phase before you have to fight the head, you have to kill both the hands basically the same time. You have like, I don't know, what is it, 15 seconds to...
Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Between, yeah, so 15 seconds between when the first hand goes down to when you get the second hand. And the worst part, and this has happened to me a few times, it's a real rookie move, but so you lower both hands, you try to lower them both pretty low so that one just takes 1 hit and then the second one takes another hit. But sometimes you hit too hard on the one hand, it goes down, so you're rushing to kill the other hand. And if you don't do it fast enough, the other hand responds. But the worst is when that hand responds and then you last hit the other hand and it goes down. You're basically resetting that whole phase of the fight because both hands are going to respond full health.
Yeah, he's also on like, let's say he's on like a 45-second timer to cycle through all his attacks. You can get unlucky and the first attack he throws at you is healing, so then you can't even attack the hand.
Right.
So there are some techniques where you can like, you kind of want to kill the melee first and then finish off the mage because the mage can't heal. There are a bunch of things you can do to like mitigate it. But when you're nervous, I make mistakes. But I think it was a fun experience. And I'm looking forward to Grandmasters. But there's a huge skill gap, just like there is from Elite to Master, because you have to get an Infernal Cape and learn a lot of techniques. There's the same level of gap or bigger to GM. So the margin for error just becomes lower. And your friends just need to be better too. So I'm not so worried about the like getting people together part. It's the gear for me. I just don't have the gear to finish it.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one for Iron. I have the same problem where I'm trying to fight Hydra and there's a speed kill Hydra in like a minute, 30 seconds, something like that. I think it's a minute 20, but I can get pretty close. I got the T-bow, but I'm still missing some of the best gear. And then I'm sitting there telling myself, if I just had the best gear, I could easily do this speed run. But I can buy the gear. You can't buy the gear. So that's got to feel kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm looking forward to grinding things. So
it gives you more of an incentive, I guess.
Though mega rare hunting is not exactly the most fun thing in the world, especially when you start to go dry. So before I can do GMs, I need a shadow from the mega rare staff. I need a scythe, and I need a pair of claws, dragon claws, or a ZCB from Nex. The Zarite crossbow. Those are both good. And you also might need a Void Waker. Like that could potentially replace them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously, like because it can replace claws for certain speedruns like Fasanis and stuff. But anyways,
interesting.
The scythe and the shadow are the main two. But I'm honestly kind of happy to take a break and just go chill for a bit. So yeah, that's nice. That's my new plan. I'll be working on that, and obviously Nex is still something I'll work on the side. Slow and steady.
It'll always be there for you.
Yeah, it's good though, dude. So what about you? You been up to anything fun this week or?
I don't think I was thinking, earlier today, what could I talk about? I have not done a whole lot. I am doing this little experiment, this like sort of test where, I work from home. So I'm able to kind of AFK some skilling on the side. And I wanted to see what could I do in RuneScape where I'm making decent money and it's not impacting my work. So that's the thing. Sometimes somebody says this thing is efficient or this is AFK to do, and it's not really that AFK to do. And then and then it's like you're in this problem where, okay, I'm either spending way too much time focusing on RuneScape, or I'm spending so little time letting my character do something that it's like, am I even doing anything? Should I just log out of the game for the day? Because it's just like, it's not working. So I was curious to see like what I could pull off. And then of course, everyone's definition of AFK is a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. Some people think Corrupted
say
Gauntlet is AFK.
I haven't heard that one, but that's I believe you. But you hear it a lot with like the Ardone agility course. Oh, it's kind of AFK, and it's like it's not. You don't have to look at the screen, is what they mean.
Yeah, there are levels of AFK, right?
Exactly. So I wanted to do a test to see what's the most AFK. Like I want to min max the AFK-ness of it and the amount of gold I'm pulling each day. So every week I spend doing a different activity. I've done Firewatch Sentinels.
Ooh.
So you can AFK combat these Firewatches, and they always attack you nonstop. And there's an altar, so you can keep your prayer up.
Yeah, so we're defining AFK as basically 5 minutes you can leave the screen, right? And ignore it.
Pretty much. So I've been rating them like how AFK they are.
Okay. I'm curious. So Firewatch was the first one.
Well, I'm still going through it, but I'll give a little teaser because I got a lot to work through. But the Firewatches, they turn out to be like okay money, but here's the problem. They're not super AFK. They are, but if I AFK too hard, I die.
Or you lose your blood shard.
That could happen too. And I actually had someone start grilling me because they thought I snagged it off the ground, but I didn't. And dude, I wish I did.
My first blood shard was from them, and I was like cooking dinner and like playing. And I was just cooking in the kitchen. I look over to my, like, have a peek down the hall to my monitor, and I see the orange beam on the floor from those shards. So I absolutely bolted. I don't know how long it had been there for.
Oh, and you got it.
I got it. Yep, I got it.
Oh, that's good.
Mind you, this was back in the day when people didn't bought. That place has bought it to hell now, or like AFK.
Oh, interesting.
There's so many people there, but maybe a year ago it was pretty quiet.
Interesting. But a funny story. You mentioned seeing your beam from. I had a similar scenario, but it didn't work out so well. I was doing a clue scroll, and I had to go to Intrana to do something. So I went to the boat, and I was like, "How long am I really going to be in Intrana? Like 10 seconds, probably." I dropped all my gear: blowpipe, fury, blessed d'hide, a bunch of stuff. It was like maybe over 10 mil worth of stuff. I dropped it, jumped in the boat, went off. Did it, came back. As soon as I came back, I see this noob run on my pile, and he just starts pulling, like taking everything, and he just runs off. And I was like, I couldn't even be mad. I was like, that's really funny.
That's so good.
I know. I was like, that dude is probably he's probably telling his friends, holy shit, you guys won't believe what happened. I found a pile of 10 mil worth of gear on the ground. I was able to take it all. So you know what? I was happy for that noob being able to grab those items. Anyways, but back to Firewatches. So throughout a week, I made 2.3 mil, which is actually pretty good. But here's the problem. I lost 1.2 mil from dying. So it's not great. I made basically 1 mil in a bit. And I rated it a 5 out of 10 because it is AFK. You can definitely do it, but you got to pay attention or you're going to lose your loot. Or you're going to die. And plus, you got to pick up your loot as well. It's not very AFK.
Yeah, but it's more of like that's like you got on the second monitor, you can kind of peek over kind of AFK, right?
It's great if you're like playing another game or you're playing another RuneScape account or watching a movie, but it's not something I would be like, you can work from home. You can do work and do Firewatches. I don't think that.
I would be too nervous to do that.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, you're focusing too much on grabbing gear loot off the ground. You're not.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay.
And then
that's good.
Something like Inferno Eels, I rated 8 out of 10. Sacred Eels I did a few weeks ago. I got Carom Bombs coming up maybe next week. Anglerfish I'm doing this week. I did Magic Trees. I haven't tried Redwoods, but I know I've had people recommend Redwoods. I'm a little skeptical because...
Oh, so good. Redwoods are peak AFK for like also something that gives you a high level of skilling XP.
Interesting.
For me.
I'm going to have to try it.
Carom ones are also wonderful because it's like Carom ones is not random. Like there's a specific amount of time it takes to fill up your inventory plus your fish barrel. And you need a fish barrel for it. Which I highly recommend whoever doesn't have a fish barrel, go and do Temporos until you get one.
Pretty good.
It's really, really good. Carom ones are good XP, good pet rate, AFK because it's like on a specific cycle. So you can like go work for like 90 seconds and then come back, click a couple times, you're set up again.
Interesting.
Redwoods, you could chop the same log before the 25-minute logout timer. Sometimes you just log out chopping the same chunk of redwood. Like that's how AFK they were.
Oh, interesting.
Mind you, it's a bit more varied, right? Because you can chop it instantly. Usually, though, it's a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be. I've some things that I was like, there's no way this is gonna be a good thing to AFK. Turned out it was better than I thought. So I'm gonna have to try it out. I'm a little skeptical because when I have done it, you're either spam clicking your inventory to drop, or you're climbing down the ladder, clicking to the bank to deposit, and that's an extra click on top of what you would at magic trees.
That'll be great. We could maybe do like just a full episode on like AFK activities. And like maybe ranking them from our least favorite to our favorite.
Because my problem is a lot of things were giving you the most gold per hour for something, and it's like, well, if you're working, that's not going to happen. And a lot of things that get rated as very AFK, they're AFK, but if you're working, they're just less AFK. Because I'm trying to figure out, I don't want it to impact my day job. So
personally, I think like making money is easier to do while you're actively at your computer. So do activities that you can make money then. AFKing for money, unless it's like an actual alt, like blood shards or like rune dragons or whatever. I think it's probably better to focus on getting your account better. So like mining, skilling, whatever you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to see if I could what would be awesome. The dream would be that AFKing during the day, I get enough gold that I could pay for some bonds each. Like I could pay fully for my membership just from AFKing. And then the XP on the side is just fun. Numbers go up and that's great. Anyways, I spilled the beans a little early because I haven't fully finished it. I'm going to do a whole thing. That's my plan. So we'll talk about it in more detail when that happens. But perfect segue. This might be the best time to go over to the news and talk about the way of the forester. It's forestry. All right. I teased it at the beginning. But yeah, forestry is one of the big updates we'll be getting this year. And it's going to be focused on basically making woodcutting more fun, making it more social, making it an activity you can do with friends. The problem right now is woodcutting. There is no incentive to cut the same tree together with other people. And they mentioned in the blog, but basically every time you cut a log, there's a 1 in 8 chance that it's going to chop down the tree. And this is for everyone. So the more people chopping the same tree, the higher the chance it'll end up getting chopped down, which is not good. Especially if you're trying to AFK it, you want to be able you want to be able to stay at that tree as long as possible. So they want to make it so with a bunch of people chopping the same tree, that's a good thing. So that's kind of the idea of forestry. So one of the parts of forestry we'll be getting, and it's something that I'm probably the most excited about when it comes to this new activity, it's these random events. I shouldn't call them random events, but there are these events that can happen while you're cutting a tree. And they've broken it down into 2 styles of events. It's basically events that happen while you're in the process of cutting down a tree. And then there's events that can happen once the tree gets cut down. So yeah, it's 2 types of events. And they kind of teased what these events look like. And if you are let me go through it. Let me see if any of these are nostalgic to you. I don't know how else to say it, but the first event name, this is during the chopping phase. I don't know why they call it that. When you're cutting down a tree, this event could happen. The first one's called Rising Roots. So basically, roots will randomly appear around the tree and they'll start clinging to some of you woodcutters. And you'll have to pivot. Instead of cutting the tree, you'll have to focus on cutting the roots. Otherwise, who knows, something could happen. They don't say what, but something could happen. So you'll need an axe for this. So a lot of these events, you'll need specific items for it, which is kind of interesting. But this one's simple. Just an axe, cut down the roots. And you'll get anema-infused bark and then some experience. And this anema-infused bark they're calling it this new wood cutting currency, which we have a lot of currencies in this game.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be like outfits and rewards you can buy, right?
Yeah, there are some rewards, and I think we're going to see more because there's not a whole lot. But the next one is the friendly ent. So as you're cutting it, the tree could actually turn out to be an ent, and if you're going to continue wood cutting, well, it's going to knock you back. So that's the idea of that one. The third event is the beehive, and what's going to happen is there are going to be some bees in the tree. And what you're going to need to do is rehouse the bees into an actual bee enclosure. I don't know. What do you call those things? The
beehives.
Maybe a beehive. Yeah, I guess. Man-made beehive. But for this, you'll need a bee smoker, which is going to be a new item that you're going to be able to get for this activity. The next event is pheasants. There'll be a not so pleasant pheasants that will pop out of the tree, and they'll probably, be scattering around. I'm not really too sure, but you're going to have a slingshot with some appropriate ammo, and you're going to need to use that to, they say, help manage the population. You're going to have to slaughter a bunch of pheasants. And then the last one is called the flowering tree. Basically, there's going to be some bees who are going to be looking for the flowers that randomly spawn around the tree, and it's going to be your job to help collect the pollen and make sure the bee is nice and safe. You'll need a bee on a stick for that one. Any of those events stand out, or anything pop in your head as we're going through these events?
Yeah, I mean, you remember the swarms that used to come out and like kill people that were AFK? So, like the anti-botting mechanics back in the day. That was the fun time.
Oh yeah, the swarms. There would be. You see them if you go to Great Corrend, Port Piscalarius. I think you can see them. You'll find these like swarms that'll just follow you around. They don't do anything. Back in the day, they used to spawn and they would just attack a random person, and you could not kill it, and it would just keep attacking you until you died or you ran real far away. Brutal. But it's not just the swarms. The Rising Roots was a really old random event from RuneScape. And I think it got removed from the game after a couple days because it was so brutal. So many people were dying.
Damn, I don't remember that. All I remember is the swarm and the one where your axe head would fall off.
Yeah, and you'd walk around with a little club. And people you could trade the axe head.
Yeah, you could. It was scary, man, because like things would show up to other people so quickly back then.
Oh yeah, a minute.
And you when you're a kid, you're investing like, maybe 20% of your bank into a rune axe because what were they, like $30K back then?
Yeah, and that's a lot of money. That was a lot of money
back then. You maybe got a couple $100K in your bank. That's a good chunk of it if you're a child. Mm-hmm. You're going to invest in the wood cutting.
Oh yeah,
you need that rune axe to keep up with those bots. So.
Yeah,
even I remember those good days.
The ent, this one's a friendly ent, but back then it wasn't a friendly ent. So you could have your axe head that would go flying off and you wouldn't even realize it unless you were watching your screen and then you watched it happen. Otherwise, nothing indicated.
Yeah. And you couldn't find it either because it was like hard to see where it was.
Yeah.
It's tough days, dude.
And then there was the ent that would appear. And if you kept wood, your guy would keep wood cutting the tree when the ent spawned. But if you stopped, you were safe. If you didn't, your axe would be completely destroyed and you would need to go to Bob's Axes and get it fixed in Lumbridge. So
brutal.
Yeah, a little reference there. But the Rising Roots, I never actually dealt with this one either, but I heard about it and I remember reading about it, and this event was whack. So it was only in it for like a day because it was so punishing and so many people were dying. You would get teleported underground and it would be just this like cave full of these roots and vines, and the vines would basically attach onto you, and anytime you tried to move you would take damage from the roots. What you needed to do to survive was you would just need not to do anything. You had to stop. No, don't click, don't move anywhere, just stop and wait 10 seconds and you would break free. It's kind of like quicksand, I think. That was the idea.
Someone was watching too much Harry Potter.
Is that? is that?
You remember in the first book or the first movie when they go down through the traps? The first trap is like a vine that you have to sit still in.
Really?
To let it through. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You have to like not panic and sit there and then go through. But then of course, Ron panics and then Hermione has to save him. Classic.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean that's someone is reading too much Potter.
I have
in the day.
only read the first I've only read and watched the first 2 books, and then I watched the final movie, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I skipped everything in between. Quick little tangent.
Jeez. It's quite the...
Well, I had friends that were like, oh my God, there's a new Harry Potter movie that's out. Let's go see it. And I was like, oh, I remember Harry Potter. I've seen the first 2 movies. What a fun movie. I loved when they played Quidditch and they were on the train and they had the jelly beans and they were walking through the town when Harry had to get his broom. What a fun movie. I'm so down. So I was in high school. I smoked a bunch of weed beforehand, went to go see it with some friends. And then there was no Quidditch. I was so confused. It was just like,
yeah, they start to get a little bit, you definitely, the characters get older and they lose some of the charm, I think, as they get later into it, but it's good stuff.
I should have seen part 1. Anyways, maybe that's where they pulled that from, that inspiration. But yeah, a lot of people were dying because nobody knew, hey, if I just stand still, it will free myself. So people, of course, they're going to spam click. And the more damage you take, you're going to keep spam clicking because you're like, oh, I don't know what's hurting me, but whatever it is needs to stop. So I'm going to click faster. So anyways, that got removed fully from the game. So whole point, even the pheasants, there's a lot of references to some of the old random events that we have and some that we still have, like the beehive and the pheasants. Which, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I love the reference. Is it lazy? Oh, I guess we'll find out when they bring it out if it's just copy and pasted. Now, there's another set of events called Wind Chopped. So once the tree chops down, there's a chance that these will appear. The first one is a leprechaun. And it says, basically, if this leprechaun spawns, you'll be able to deposit all of any items you want into the bank. It's basically going to be like a bank you could access randomly. The next is a dryad. This is supposed to be this mystical, this ancient nature-based creature, monster, spirit thing. But when it appears, you're going to be able to offer presents to it as a tribute, and maybe you'll get something in return. It's basically logs. It's saying you can offer it logs, and who knows what you'll get from it. Next is the enchanted ritual. So the dryads will also appear, but they'll need help in a ritual. They'll give you a series of instructions, and once you're done, they will cast an enchantment on everyone who did it. Again, they're being a little hush-hush on what this enchantment could be. Next is the struggling sapling. A poor struggling sapling needs your help to grow and get stronger. Basically, you'll need to rake a combination of falling leaves onto the sapling in order for it to flourish. But if you don't do it quick enough, it's just going to die. So that is interesting. I hope it's not like the Zebek with the jugs where you have to like push things. That could be rough. And last one, this one sounds kind of cool. Poachers appear. You might scare a fox or maybe some other critter from the tree. What a coincidence. Poachers are there looking to hunt it. It'll be your job to try and stop the poachers. Or you can let them kill the animal if you're like if you hate animals. I don't know. Do people hate animals? I'm sure somebody does for whatever reason. Anyways, some of these events sounds kind of cool. I love the idea of it. It's 10 events in total, 5 of each version. It doesn't feel like a lot to me. I feel like it will feel old quicker. So I would love to see a ton of events, so much so that if you're doing this activity long enough, you might see an event that you're like, I've never seen this one before. But anyways, wishful thinking. What are your thoughts on the Wind Chopped event? Anything stand out as cool or anything stand out as, well, this sounds like the worst thing that they could add?
No, I think it's good. I like how they're kind of keeping things hush-hush. I like the recent releases where they just kind of give us a vague idea and then throw it at us. I think that's kind of the future of updates. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, the hope is they go harder. The product we get in the end is way more intense than what they kind of share. That's how Guardians of the Rift felt. Even though they did pitch, they showed the arena, they gave a breakdown of how the activity took place, but I think a lot of people were surprised by how engaging it was. And I think a lot of us are hoping for the same. Okay, so we mentioned that you can get this new currency, this new woodcut currency called Anima Infused Bark. And you're going to be able to use this to get access to some rewards. Okay, so the first item, it looks like that they're pitching is the forestry kit. Oh, they actually have a breakdown of how to use this currency in logs. It's a little bit confusing. I don't like when they give these graphs, but the way it seems is that you can use this currency for one, to purchase these new uniques, or two, you could actually sell. Or there's some way to make money with this currency, whether it's trading the currency itself or the items that you unlock from the currency, you're able to sell and make some actual money. So they're trying to find a component where you can profit if you don't feel like, the problem with the shooting stars, it's a cool update. I really do like that update. Once you grind out all the uniques, which doesn't take long, there's not really any point to continue doing it. I think they're trying to avoid like how Stardust gets kind of, it's in this awkward place where it's not really the most useful for most people. So they want to have a component where you can actually trade some of the kits you get. But yeah, there are some unique items you'll be able to unlock. The first one is called the clothes pouch. So basically, the idea is you can put there's a lumberjack outfit in the game. If you don't know, you can grind it out. And when you get a full lumberjack's outfit, it gives you a 5%, is it 5%? Yeah, it's 5% experience boost when you're skilling.
I thought it was 2.5%.
Is it 2.5%? Let me check. You're right. Sorry, got mixed up. Every piece gives you 0.5% for a total of 5%. Or for a total of 2.5%. Heartless, I got some terrible news. Actually, you kind of have terrible news, but my alarm went off. And this is an alarm we set at the beginning of the podcast because you had to cut out early.
Yes, I have to sneak out.
I was very hopeful we would be able to get through the forestry update, but
you know us.
We became chatty
maybe a third of the way in.
So
yeah,
I'm going to run through the rewards because there's some fun stuff. We'll talk about it another day for sure.
We'll circle back to it.
We will circle back.
I'm looking forward to the update overall. I think it's going to be really good for wood cutting, which sorely needs some love. I would say.
Here's to hoping. Yeah.
Here's to hoping. All right, everyone. I will see you next time. No one's going to be here to fix Dill's pronunciation.
I know. So. I'm running loose. So, can't wait for the emails.
Wild and loose. Oh no. Okay, I'll see you later.
All right. See you, Heartless. All right, that was Heartless, everyone. Woo! I deleted my laugh track app. I was hoping I could play it as he was leaving, and I guess I deleted it, uninstalled it. I didn't have much faith in the podcast needing or benefiting from my laugh track. Isn't that funny? Weird how that works. Funny note, now that Heartless is gone, we can just run wild. No one's here to keep us talking about RuneScape. I've been watching that 90s show recently. I'm a huge That 70s Show fan. One of my favorite shows of all time. It's a big comfort show. I've seen it so many times, except for the last season. That last season fucking sucks. Oh my God. Talk about, does a show have a worse last season? I don't know. But anyways, I'm a big fan of That 70s Show. My mom watched it when I was a kid, and I think it was because, and what I got to know more about my mom passed away when I was a kid, but I got to know more about her. And I think, I mean, obviously what she really liked about That 70s Show, and I'm pretty confident, it's because she probably watched it and it reminded of her. So I learned that she smoked a lot of weed when she was in like college and high school and stuff like that. So she would watch a ton of That 70s Show. So me and my brother Deegan, we grew up not with the most money. So we had one TV in the house. And after like dinner time, it was my mom was in control of the TV. So whatever she put on, we were kind of stuck watching. But that meant that we grew up with a lot of Seinfeld and a lot of That 70s Show. And those two shows are like one of my favorite shows of all time. They're the most comfort show ever. I can watch almost any episode, anytime, any number of times, and I'll have a good time watching it. All this to say, they came out with That 90s Show, which was like a reboot of it. And I was like, you know what? Let's watch it. It's going to be pretty bad. And so me and my wife, we watched it, and it I don't think it was great, but it wasn't bad. And we ended up watching the entire first season. But this is the thing that a lot of people have not been liking. It's got the laugh track, and lots of shows still get the laugh track treatment, but it kind of made me learn. I learned a little bit more about laugh tracks than I thought I did. So I learned that the history part of the history of the laugh track comes from basically when entertainment moved from the stage onto the television, right? Before, if you ever wanted to watch a show, you could listen to it on the radio, or you would have to be there. If you wanted to watch something, you would need to go to a play to watch it. That was like the only way to watch something. Go to a play and watch it. And when you're at a play, you're not the only one there. There's a whole audience of people. And this audience would be a little more interactive. They would clap, they would cheer, they would cry, they would laugh, they would scream obscenities at the actors. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it might have happened. But yeah, so that was just like the culture of plays. And I think that's how plays kind of still are. I haven't been to a play. I don't think I've ever been to a play since I was like in elementary school and I had to participate in plays, like Annie and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyways, when they were moving it onto the television, they were worried that people who were watching it at home, they would watch it and be like, well, this is nothing like going to a play. Why would I want to watch this by myself when I can go to a play, get the same experience, but in a better setting? So they added the laugh track to make it feel like you were with the audience, which is kind of cool. And plus, as TV's developed, some of those older sitcom shows was filmed in front of a live in studio audience, which is cool. When I watched the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion part, that was one thing I learned a lot about, was how you would show up to watch the filming of Fresh Prince, but it wasn't just like a show. It was like it's like comparable to going to see like a magician or something, where like Will Smith would interact with the audience. He just kept getting into the audience and slapping him in the face. No, sorry, not it's irrelevant joke. I'm always so behind on the trends by a couple weeks. You guys aren't here for that. I'm not even a TV buff. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Maybe I'm someone who is more knowledgeable is probably like, Dills, you're getting it all wrong. Heartless, we miss you already. Let's talk about RuneScape again. Okay, let's talk about some of the rewards we get from the forestry update. So the first one is a clothes pouch. So if you don't know, there's a lot of skilling outfits in the game. They kind of have different styles now, but when they were first being introduced, you'll notice a lot of them have the same perk. It's a 5-piece set, and with every piece of the skilling outfit, you get a boost of 0.5% experience. So when you have the full outfit, you'll have 2.5% experience boost. For the most part, the skilling outfits aren't worth grinding for. The time it takes to actually get the outfit, you won't save any experience unless you're going for like 200 mil experience. It's usually not worth it. But if you're like me and you like collecting stuff and you like getting different outfits for different things, well, then you're going to grind them all out. So that's what I did. And to be honest, the lumberjack outfit is one of the quicker ones to grind. It's probably worth doing. And it's actually fun to grind because you have to do it through, was it temple trekking? I think that's what it's called. It's fun. That's a fun mini game. I wish it was better. It needs to get an update so it's actually cool. A lot of the rewards are kind of useless. So you have these skilling outfits that give you a 2.5% boost in experience. Now the problem that comes with having these outfits is when you have people like me who like to grind them out. Well, shit, if I'm going to spend this time grinding out and it gives me a little bit of a buff to my skilling, you bet your ass I'm going to wear that outfit when I'm skilling. Not a big deal, but the problem is, and we have this problem with Graceful, and we're seeing these updates where they're trying to mitigate this problem, but you go to the Woodcutting Guild, everybody looks the same. Everyone's got full lumberjack on. And it's just like, it's less fun, right? It's more fun when everyone's wearing whack shit. When you can just look as dumb or as cool as possible, that's awesome. And you still get all the benefits from it. So I'm saying all this because this clothes pouch is going to be this new reward you can get from this activity. And what you can do is you can put your entire lumberjack outfit into this pouch, and then you can carry the pouch on you, and you will get the bonus, the experience bonus. This is a way that you can dress up in your coolest looking fashionscape or your worst looking fashionscape, but you still get that woodcutting buff. I kind of like it. That's pretty cool. That's great. It kind of helps get around this issue where everyone's starting to look the same. If you go to like the Blood Essence mines in Zaya, everyone's wearing the rune crafting outfit, right? You just see that everywhere. So a little bit of variety is always nice, and it's kind of, it's RuneScape. We love that shit. We love seeing like cute noob outfits and stuff. The next reward is Forester's Rations. So this is a stackable items. I guess you can get this giant stack of rations. And the idea is once you chop down the tree, you will get back some run energy. And the better the tree, the more run energy you'll get. So it sounds like there's going to be a bit of running around in this activity. And this way you're not having to wear because here's the thing. Okay, great. We got the clothing pouch. We can put all of our lumberjack outfit on. But hey, if I have to do a lot of running around, I'm just going to be wearing graceful. And now we're stuck in that same problem where everyone's wearing graceful. Well, this is what the rations are going to do. You don't need graceful because your energy will be restored. Next is the Forester's Scone. This will increase the chance to spawn an event from the tree or woodcutting. And it stacks with other people. So if there's 10 other people with scones, it's a good chance there's going to be an event that pops out. Now, the only scone I know, it's like a baked good. I don't get it. Why does the scone gonna give you a better chance at getting these events? Maybe is there gonna be a fox that wants to eat my peach scone or something? I don't know, but hey, maybe there's something. Maybe someone can email or let me know what's the connection between scones and chopping wood in the UK. Do you guys? Is that what lumberjacks do? Do they just eat scones? Right? I don't know. Maybe. Next item is the Secateurs attachment. Secateur. I wish this is where I need Heartless. We have Secateurs in the game. I don't think this is a real word. I've never seen it before. It sounds a little French. It is. It's a French word. This is an attachment to our magic Secateurs, it looks like. And this will allow us to gather more leaves, but fewer logs. And you're probably like, leaves? When the hell were you going to mention there's leaves involved? It's for making tea, right? It's for making tea, and we're going to get to it, which is, how thematic, just because this is a game made in the UK. Which, by the way, I've mentioned before, I'm a big coffee lover. Tea, on the other hand, I haven't been able to make it work. I have wanted to get into teas for so long, and I wanted to try it. They just seem healthier in general, and something about drinking tea that's kind of sexy. Might be weird to say, but there's just like so many. There's loose leaf. There's so many different types. There's magic mushroom tea, and there's like weed tea. I don't think they would taste good, but I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Tea is very versatile. So there's a few people in the clan chat that were basically saying that I'm not making tea properly, and they were going to send me videos and tutorials on how to make tea. They never did it. If you're listening, you know who you are. I need some tutorials on tea, and please call in. If you're a tea lover right now, call in. Tell me, what tea am I supposed to try? I used to work at Tim Hortons. I like to think I'm a little well versed on my teas. Earl Grey. It smells like Fruit Loops. Come on, I know what Earl Grey is. Chamomile. You got a sore throat, you gotta get some chamomile tea. That's when I would drink teas. I always had chamomile tea when my throat was real fucked up, or like peppermint maybe. If I had like a sore throat, it always helped soothe it. Anyways, yeah. Someone tell me how to do teas. Because the problem with coffee as well is it gives me the runs, and it's very. I've been finding it very inconvenient during the day because I don't. Every morning is just filled with panic as I'm running off to the bathroom after drinking my tea. Every morning. And it's been like this for years. And I just kind of accepted it. But I don't think tea's this way. So tell me, what tea am I supposed to try? Anyways, there's going to be some teas involved. The next item is the Forester's Lucky Charm. So when we mentioned some of those events that happened after the tree chops down, in order for those events to appear, you're going to need some items. Forester's Lucky Charm, you'll get the leprechaun. A petal circlet, you'll get the Dryad. Wind Chimes, you'll get the Dryad enchantment. Bee Smoker, you'll get the bee. Sturdy Harness, you get the bee. The Slingshot and Slingshot Ammo for the Pheasants event, and a bee on a stick will be used for the Flowering Tree event, and it'll also increase the yield of tree seeds. Next is the Nature Offering. This will increase the resources you get from cutting down a tree. And this will also increase based on the other foresters who are cutting down that tree as well. And then we have Squirrel Treats. And these all give you a chance to get more tree seeds from events. So yeah, how fun is that? That's pretty fun. Now, those are all those are all event focused, interesting enough. And you'll be able to craft them with different items you'll get from the activity, but we got more rewards. There's a fair bit here. There is a fair bit here. So there's going to be a log basket where you can carry 28 extra logs around with you. You can think of the fishing barrel. This is going to be very similar. You're going to be able to recolor the forestry outfits, which unsure if this is a full-on new outfit or if this will be some sort of reskin of the lumberjack, similar to how the spirit angler's outfit. You'll be able to get a POH bee box, so you can have bees in your own house. That's pretty cool, unless you're afraid of bees like I am. You'll be able to get a two-handed axe. I'm sorry, what? This will give you more experience, but it will increase the time it takes to actually get a log. If you want to just flat out skip temple trekking, well, shit, you can just get your lumberjack outfit from this activity as well. There's going to be the arborist gloves. Holy fuck, there's a lot of stuff. I already went through this, but as I'm reading them out loud now, that's way more than than it felt like when I was reading through the dev blog. Arborist's gloves. This is going to be used for your tree farm patches. It will reduce the protection cost. It will increase the higher yield of resources you'll get from it. You'll get some bonus experience, and it will slightly boost growth time. Interesting. You'll be able to get some seed packs for farming, similar to what you get in the Farming Guild. There'll be a sawmill voucher where you can get more planks for the money that you'll be able to get more planks for the usual money cost it takes for converting logs to planks at the sawmill. There will also be a funky shaped log. And this is going to help you recolor your beaver pet to a few different colors. There's a picture in this of a fox. If I can change my beaver into a fox, that'd be weird. But foxes are so cute. But the idea is this is going to be a fun way to train woodcutting. It'll make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more exciting, some more things to get excited for. But those were just the rewards. The other thing we're going to talk about is tea brewing. The new skill. No, it's not a new skill. Tea brewing. We already have teas in the game, but they only heal like 1 or 2 HP. It's nothing much. But now you're going to be able to make your own teas in game. What makes this kind of cool is they didn't want it to be basically a reskinned herblore, right? If you give these stats to different teas, these are just potions, aren't they? They're just potions that look different, and your guy says, nice cup of tea every time you drink it. You know your guy's going to say it when you drink it too. This part of this game that I love. Never change, Jagex. Never change. What's cool about the tea brewing, though, is that it's going to be different than making potions. They're not going to act like potions. So you'll have different leaves that will give you different types of perks for your tea. So here's the idea. Let's say you get oak leaves. Oak leaves would give you boost to combat and a boost to the duration of the potion, of the tea. Yew leaves would give you a boost in production and a boost in duration of. Magic leaves would give you a big boost to power, and willow leaves would give you just a minor boost to power. Taking these leaves, you will then be able to combine different amounts to a cup of tea. Depending on what leaves you use, it might be a combat tea that has a really long duration. Or it might be a production or power tea that has or it might be a combat, production, and power tea that has a very short duration because you're wanting to get all the boosts at once. So there's going to be different ways you can figure what kind of tea is going to fit this scenario. I like that. That seems really cool. And it seems very exciting. Now, the examples given, I'll be honest, not great. The hell is power? I don't know. Combat, production. Yeah, so there's definitely a work in progress, but this is the concept of it. And I'll be honest, yeah, I'm into it. That's pretty cool. I like that. And if I drink tea, maybe I'll like it even more, right? I feel so much more immersed. Although if I don't like tea and I'm playing this, I might get a little like, oh my God, I'm not connecting with my character like I used to, blah, 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 blah. That's not it though. We have one more thing to talk about, and that is campfires. You will be able to take the logs and you can burn them, which will give you an area effect. It'll give you another buff similar to how the teas do it. But it's kind of the same idea. But instead of drinking tea, you're going to be setting a campfire. Now, these are very generalized and basic ideas because, when I'm reading them, okay, isn't teas and campfires the same thing? If anything, teas are way better because I could just drink them as I go. But, there could be this aspect where, if I light a fire and you're nearby, maybe you're going to get the boost too. Whereas teas, it's just me drinking it all by myself. So I think there's going to be that element, and I think they're going to find a nice place for it. But yeah, it seems cool. I think it's a good idea. But there you go. There's the forestry update. It feels like it's a skill pitch, doesn't it? There's so many things they're throwing at us with it. I mean, I'm into it, but I'd be lying if I said there's not a lot there. There's not a lot there, and at the same time, I feel like we could have more that is more exciting. I liked everything that I just went through, but nothing feels like when we look at the Hollowed Sepulchre, it makes agility fun. It kind of brings the PVM experience to a skill. If you haven't done it, Hollowed Sepulchre, it's basically you're running this obstacle course, but you have to actually, in real life, need to be good at clicking around, or you're not going to be able to complete it. It's not like any of the other agility courses where you click it and your character is going to roll the dice to see if he walks across the tightrope or falls off. Hollowed Sepulchre, you need to click, you need to dodge things, you need to run through before you get hit by other things and run away. It's this whole thing, a whole ordeal. There's 5 floors, right? Here's the cool part. Each floor requires a higher agility level, but each floor gives you better experience, gives you better rewards, but it also gets incredibly difficult. So you get to this point where I can do the first 4 floors, but that final last floor, yeah, I can't do it. That's some hard shit. I have the level to do it now, like the agility level, but I am not good enough as an individual to complete it. But it's exciting. It makes me, okay, great. I have 7 more levels to grind before I max my agility. That's a lot of time for me to get good at Hollowed Sepulchre and actually complete that final floor and get all the goodies that comes with being able to run through that final floor. There's a lot of rewards there that are worth money. Way of the Forestry, I think, is missing that. If it had some sort of progression where you have all of these random events, but maybe there's one event, if you get it, yeah, good fucking luck trying to complete it. It's going to be tough. And if everyone's woodcutting it and they're all kind of shit, you guys just better friggin' run because you're going to die. Like, how cool would it be if you get this ent that spawns, but what if the ent was like, no, this isn't just a normal ent. This is like the, I don't know, Goliath ent. And it's like now shooting these razor sharp leaves at you and you're having to dodge it, but you still got to woodcut it to do damage. But shit, the roots are coming up and now you're entangled. Shit, but now he's just threw another leaf at you and you're going to take some damage if you don't get the hell out of the way. And right as that's happening, maybe it sends maybe it has like a vine that comes in and tries to hit you, and you get what I'm saying. Maybe it shoots some maple syrup at you, and now you're all gross, but also maple syrup's like delicious, so it's kind of worth it, So something like that I think is missing. Something that's like, this is something to work towards. Everything's fun, but it all feels kind of, I don't know, kind of easy, I guess. Not easy, but not scary. But I would love that. I would love one of the events being rare, but it's something where it's like, if you're not prepared for this event to happen, you better run and just ignore this event. I think but then also the rewards from it would be awesome. I would love that. That would be cool. I'm getting excited just talking about it. Does Jagex have a ideas person position open yet? I don't know. So overall, though, I am excited. I like this push. It's like we're revisiting all these skills to try to make them more fun. We saw it with Guardians of the... I feel like we go through this like every couple of months. Let's go through all the skills that they've made sort of fun. But I like what they're doing with Forestry, where they're not just doing... It's not an activity in the game. They're going to be converting parts of the world into this. So there are going to be some areas you can still do the old school way of woodcutting, like the farming or the Woodcutters Guild. But there will also be areas that are going to be converted so they work like this new Forestry update. So very exciting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you excited? Or is there anything you're super amped about? Anything you disagree with me on? Is there anything you're a little disappointed about? Would love to hear it, of course. And we're going to take a look at the final dev blog that I'm going to talk about alone. Is the Pull 78 dev blog. There's not much here. I'm not going to go through every update because it's kind of boring. But what I will talk about is you can now recolor the Elven Crystal Armor. So you can make it yellow, blue, green, purple, white, black, red, which is kind of cool. Actually, it's cool. I've seen some pictures of people's setups and they look pretty badass. And the other update that's worth mentioning is they've told us what the drop rates are at the new Wilderness bosses, which, by the way, I am still having a great time doing. This is going to be a top contender for me when we do our year in review episode. The Wildy bosses have been so much fun. It's fun to do solo. It's fun to PK. It's fun to do with any size of a team, big or small. Not too big though, because they capped it at 10 people groups. Anyways, the pets are 1 in 2,000 from any of the group bosses, or they are 1 in 2,800 from the solo versions. The Void Waker sword pieces, so there's 3, the hilt, blade, and gem. It's 1 in 360 at the group bosses, or 1 in 912 at the solo bosses. So 3 times the rate, basically. The Dragon Pickaxe is 1 in 256, or 1 in 358 for solos. The Revenant upgrade items is 1 in 196, or 1 in 600. They're adding a few new quests to quest speedrunning. X marks the spot and Kingdom Divided. Quest speedrunning is also kind of fun. If you're bored and want to do something and RuneScape, you're not sure what, try something new. Do some quest speedrunning. They're pretty fun. The Cook's Assistant, great quest to start out with because it's quick and it's really fun trying to like min-max your time. When I was able to get the platinum record, it felt good. I felt like I was really gaming. And that is it. So yeah, now, but we have one more thing to talk about, but I wanted to bring a friend onto the show who's more well-versed in the Snowflake community because we have got another dev blog about the unique official account build support. It's been a bit of a back and forth, and I feel like with every dev blog, it's getting worse and worse, and it's at the point where even people who love Snowflake accounts aren't into this. So I want to bring on a friend who is way more well-versed than I am onto the show. Joe, okay. People might be familiar with in-game clan, but what is your experience with Snowflake accounts? I know you are I believe you're a moderator. You work on the moderator team for a Snowflake clan, at least you did at some point, a community built around these accounts. And I know you've got a bunch of these accounts. So yeah, how deep are you in the Snowflake community?
Yeah, sure. I guess my experience sort of starts whenever I started playing the game. Way back in the day, I had a couple of, IRL friends that played, told me about it, like, yeah, try this game, and we all know the story. I got into it, and honestly, the combat was a bit lacking for me. It's sort of AFK. It's not. So I actually ended up making an account called Combat Stinks. It was like a level 3 skiller, and I played that for quite a while until, the whole evolution of combat thing. But I got back into it in like 2018, Same friend actually was telling me, hey, it's on mobile, to try it out. So I made the account home, or zero HMM, which probably more people in the wild, like, in say the wild clan and like, RCC know me by.
Yeah, that's kind of like your main account, isn't it?
It was a Snowflake account. I did like the level 3 thing for a bit, and then I thought about doing prayer just for overheads for some protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually started trading hit points on it as well. So level 1s across the board, except for prayer and hit points.
In terms of combat, like that's what you mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually got to the point where it's like, oh man, Step Licker came out. That looks really cool. I missed all these quests and bosses. So I leveled that account up and sort of regretted it. But it gave me a chance to sort of like reflect on what I wanted to actually experience in like a Snowflakey build. And had tried my hand at Iron Man and Ultimate Iron Man. And I really like the Ultimate game mode. I know a lot of people kind of like shy away from that, but it's real simple and there's, no bank. You don't have to worry about all this hoarding and cluttering. And so I made an account actually going off a theme of like that account own or like zero. Sometimes I call it to myself. So I made an account called like UIM HMM, and just played it as a 10 HP account for a bit. And I was like, man, I really need an end goal. So why don't I just try something ridiculous? I'll go for an untrimmed Herblore cape on a 10 HP and change my name to UIM Herb 10 HP to be a bit more descriptive. And since then, I got in, kind of fell in with the one of the moderators from the Unique Iron Man subreddit, No Currencies. He put out a post that said like, hey, we're starting a clan, come, be here, be in this world at this time and help found it. So help found that. So I admin the Snowflakes clan on Herb, and I've probably had way too many accounts that are just some form of main or Snowflake, mostly Snowflakes. But
yeah, I know I guess this would be after the Herblore account, but I think you've since moved on. But you made a ranged only account or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm actually clicking on ranging guild targets right now. It's called Is Ranged. And the thought came up like, I wonder what skills we can train in game that are like soloable skills, if that makes sense. Of like, people do like one skill at time accounts. So okay, you can train agility without training other skills. You can do thieving, fishing, etc. The combats got weird, right? So you can do some of them. Strength is pretty straightforward, actually. Attack and defense are sort of hard, but ranged ended up being one that was real weird, and we couldn't figure out a way to do it. And I'll shout out actually a guy in our clan, Vampletics. He was a Mauritania account. I think he's moved on since then, but said, yeah, you can actually do it. The outlaws near the Grand Exchange give like some ridiculously reduced XP. So if you only hit 1s and 2s, all the HP XP is rounded to 0.
Jesus. Okay.
And then the end, like, again, not getting too deep into it, but like, I'm in computer science for a profession, and like the way they store experience is in an integer type. That's why, max cache is what it is, 2.147. And they store fractional XP in like only one decimal place. So yeah, they give like, I don't know, what is 0.05 XP. So it just rounds off to 0. Like, oh, neat.
That's wild.
So yeah.
That's I feel like we have to do a whole nother episode going deep into this because we're really here to talk about the dev blog, but I am so interested in it, and people might be listening to like, I don't get it. But yeah, I'm going to ask you in a second to hear what you think the appeal is, and I'll give my thoughts on what I think the appeal is because I made a 10 HP defense only UIM. I train all the skills, but defense is the only combat. And I started to understand once I made that account. But looking at your account, Is Ranged, you're a UIM that only trains ranged. No skills, no combat, no HP, only ranged. I'm looking at your account. You have 60 range, which is That's pretty high. Seeing as you're like clicking at the range guild, like that's pretty good. And then I see you have 73 Chambers of Xeric, KC. So I know there's a bit of this experience. You can get this. What is it? What do you get? Why are you doing Chambers of Xeric?
Dark Relics. Yeah. It
gives you like 10K ranged experience, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's 150 times your level or something like that. But yeah, I think again, not to go deep in it, outlaws at their best are like 40 XP per hour. Not 40K. Not 40K XP, 40 XP.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we did some math, and it was better off to do just a leech Chambers of Xeric and hope for some Dark Relics. So I ended up getting to like 24 at Outlaws, and then it was like something 4 or 5 Dark Relics to get to 36, which I could boost into the range guild with.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's really neat. And then even looking at your UIM Herb 10 HP, that's the account name. So it's your UIM that's been trying to max Herb lore, and you're keeping your health, your HP level at 10. But I'm seeing you got 95 strength, 74 herb lore, which is really high for a UIM. That's a really hard skill to train because getting the secondaries and the herbs sucks.
Yeah. And I'll also shout out if I can. There's 2 other that actually beat me to the 99. Timstorp and Makajiki, I think. They're both level 3, but they got the untrimmed UIM capes a while back.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And so real briefly, I want to hear your thoughts, but when I never understood the appeal of these types of accounts until I made my 10 HP defense. I was bored one day. The account's name is Dills Got Bored because I was looking for something to do. Figured I'd try to make this account, and instantly I got hooked. I was like, what? This has no right being as fun as I thought it was. And I realized why it was fun was because it's a puzzle. I'm sitting there with a Google Excel sheet. I've got 20,000 Wikipedia tabs open. I'm a part of the Snowflake Discord server. I joined the 10 HP Discord server. I'm siphoning all of these pro tips from people on how you can do this or that when you really shouldn't be able to. And I was like, I know the appeal. It's like a big puzzle. Now, real briefly, what is it that makes you enjoy making these type of accounts? What makes getting 40 experience per hour fun?
I don't think anything makes 40 experience an hour fun, actually. I don't know, just like, I think you said it's the puzzle part. Yeah, I mean, I played the game in a bunch of different ways. There's obviously the challenge of being a main and conquering the different PVM, PvP, questing, whatever. But, kind of like with this game, if you put your mind to it, I mean, and as long as you can get experience or, further yourself towards your goal, like it's a persistence game, right? So I don't know. Again, I mentioned I'm in computer science. That's like, to me, a gigantic puzzle. So I do that for work. So I'm like, let me flex my brain muscles there. And then I think it's just natural that I'm going to relax. That's sort of what my brain wants to do again. Of like, all right, let's think something through and find something silly that makes people walk up to you and go, what's wrong with you? Like, oh, I don't know. Just sound fun.
That's awesome. Now, I brought you on the show, though, to talk about this future of official account builds because, there's a lot of these types of accounts. There's like communities built around them, and everyone's doing their own version of a Snowflake account, their own imposed restrictions. And there's a lot of really creative ones. But Jagex saw the joy from some of these communities, and they felt like, what if we created... What if it was possible to make these Snowflake account builds, and we call them Snowflake because they're unique. They say every snowflake's different. Not because people are sensitive that play this account.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they might be, but Jagex saw this and was like, what if we could bring these Snowflake accounts, these unique accounts, but make them official a part of the game. So you could go, when you're creating a new account, you could look through these different restrictions and say, I want to make a Mauritania only Ultimate Iron Man, something like that. And it'd be boom, you're not allowed to leave Mauritania. And really, this kind of evolved from the Iron Man mode because for a lot of people, I mean, maybe some people don't know, but before Iron Man was an actual game mode, people were just doing it in game. They just said, I'm not going to trade, I'm not going to use the GE, and I'm just going to try to like get all the items myself. And there's some YouTubers like Bodhi who created these series around it. It got very popular. Then Jagex said, people want this. And then they also saw the way to make more money because now, boom, everyone's going to have 2 accounts. So they created the Iron Man mode officially in the game, which means you literally can't trade people. And that's and they want to continue doing that, but with these official account builds.
Yeah, you kind of hit on it, right? I mean, Iron Man mode wasn't a thing. Ultimate Iron Man mode wasn't a thing. People just said, I'm not going to use a bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to trade, that's kind of organic in that way.
Yeah. And then Jagex, of course, has seen that if they need to make more money, people don't like when their membership increases. But if they don't care as much about bonding up or buying membership for like 2, 3, 4 different accounts if they can afford it. So to them, it's like, if we can get more people on board, just like Group Iron Man, just like Iron Man mode, Heart, all those different styles, we can get some more money as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think and that's the big thing. The big question is what it kind of always is in our community is like, is this going to devalue my blah 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 accomplishment? And I don't know, the way they're presenting it seems like they're going to have some sort of symbol. Of course, Iron Man has little helmets, but I don't think this devalues the One Man Army series at all, right? I don't know if they kind of separate everything and give credit where it's due. I mean, I'm okay with it. Really, I'm okay with it either way because I just enjoy playing the game. But
yeah, totally.
I think they're going a good route with the HP side of things. I think they said they wouldn't want to put a lock on that because really that is sort of the hardest skill to avoid if you're doing something like this.
Right, because you got to find all these kind of workarounds because your traditional way to train your combat skills is going to give you HP experience just naturally. And so let me quickly back up because this isn't the first time we've actually heard of this official account builds dev blog. This is maybe the 3rd time, I think. So it was pitched during RuneFest, got mixed results. Then they came out with the first dev blog of their ideas with it, and a lot of people weren't happy about it. I mean, first you have the camp of people who are like, I'm never going to do this, so I don't want dev time wasted on it. You have those people, but I guess we're going to kind of ignore them because they have no stakes in this update regardless. So, but then you have a lot of people that felt like it was, as you mentioned, devaluing things, because if you could just lock HP so that you never gained experience no matter what, it really it takes the puzzle part out of it, because you don't need to figure out all these different ways to train skills without gaining HP experience. You could just train your skills and you won't get HP experience. So Joe, you'd be training your range. You're at 60 range right now, 10 HP. With the first proposal, you could kill anything. You could just hide and shoot down lesser demons or go to the ogre camp, and you never had to worry because whatever you killed just wasn't going to give you the experience. People didn't like that, though.
I think that's, you kind of hit on a little bit of like, people vote these things down too because they don't either understand it or don't like the idea. It's similar to like PvP spite voting. I don't do that, so no. But yeah, I think I won't cut you off. You're saying about the couple times that they had pulled this or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I was just gonna say it felt to me. It felt like the system was overly complicated. I liked the idea of imposing some sort of limits of where experience. My 10 HP account, I would not want to turn off gaining HP experience, because part of the fun and excitement is figuring out how can I level things without gaining HP experience. On the other hand, I have a level 1 defense pure that I would very much like to turn off the ability to gain defense experience. Not one, I'm afraid that I might accidentally level my defense, but also there's just like, I look at, there's a few times where I'm trying to PK someone and all I want to do is turn on long range to hit them, but I know I'm going to get defense experience if I do that, so I can't do that. So, it's like this. I'm cherry picking because some of it I like the defense one, but not the HP one. Anyways, it felt like an overly like complicated system with. They kind of missed the mark. They made it so that these Snowflake accounts would be a lot easier to do things. They removed the puzzle element out of it because, well, just play the game normally and you won't level up these skills anyway. So no need to go to the wiki page because you won't accidentally do something. That's how it is right now. I'm sure you feel this way. Anything you do, you're like sifting through the wiki to see, am I going to screw something up? Or is this actually going to work?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, example on, if I could just lock hit points on this ranged account, I spent like, I don't know, an hour or two the other night sifting through the wiki, like you said, just seeing if I can get a bow better than a maple bow. Because like I'm 60 range, but I have to use a maple bow because you just can't get them. There's no other way to get a bow unless you kill something or fletch it or whatever. And like, yeah, I don't know that Jagex kind of understand. Maybe it seems like they're starting to, that they don't just have an MMORPG. They have a puzzle game as well, like we said a couple of times. And I think they're kind of starting to see that a little bit.
Yeah, because I think maybe on their first pitch, they were like, hey, if we made these unique accounts easier, that'd be great. Hey, Joe, you don't need to gain 40 XP per hour because, boom, we're going to lock HP. You can do whatever. You get 30K experience per hour. But then you're probably like, well, the struggle, being able to find this technique, it's kind of fun.
That was the fun part, honestly, yeah. Figuring out follow through is just a patience game. Like I would rank this account. You know how agility is mildly AFK, right? And you still have to like pay attention and click. It's about the same level of difficulty here, maybe a little easier. So like, yeah, I mean, after you get past the initial, can I do this? It's like, okay, I can. But is anyone realistically going to do that? Maybe not.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's great. So yeah, maybe they're kind of turning around a little bit on their thoughts because when their first pitch, it was pulled, but it failed. It got like 66% or something, and it failed. And I thought it was like done, dead out of the, like just it's gone. It's not going to happen. Okay. But Jagex still kind of wants to do this. I think part of their motivation is to get. I mean, all their motivation is to get money in the end, but I feel like they do see ex-mod Matt K once said on a stream that they realize getting people to get another account with members is like one of their best ways to making more money year over year for OSRS. RS3, it's all microtransactions.
That's sort of what we've seen with like the first start or fresh start worlds recently, right? Have to have a new account.
So they're going to go, they're actually tweaking things and they're going to come back with it. And they see this as an extension to the Iron Man mode that they added back in 2014. Now, and they say right here that they're going to be expanding the high scores this week on February 15th so that one defense peers, any account that has no defense levels, you'll be able to search them on the high scores. And then there's level 3 skillers. People with no levels in combat skills will also be found on the high scores. And a lot of this we're going to see is like a lot of these Snowflake account builds will like have their own dedicated high scores. And I think, again, bringing this competitive aspect to it is another way to get people more involved, I think, which at the same time, I think it also makes this update a little bit less clear for people, because when you introduce the competitive side of things, then it's like, well, what if people exploit it? And then they have to start putting all these different limitations and these different rules, which makes things confusing. Now, but we're going to get to that part. So they're going to be actually adding a new option when you are starting your account on Tutorial Island. When you're able to choose what kind of account you want to make, it'll be like, regular, normal account, Iron Man, Hardcore Iron Man, UIM. There's also going to be another tab that says mode modifier. So you're going to be able to pick Iron Man mode, and then you can go through and be like, I want to be a skiller pure, check it off. Or I want to be a one defense pure, check it off. And then it's going to give you more options so that you can go and pick specific skills like attack, strength, magic. That's all they show on this, but we can assume is all of them going to be on there? Maybe all but HP, it seems like. So you're going to be able to do this from the very from Tutorial Island. You'll be able to pick what skills you want to have available. But they did remove the 10 HP peers for reasons that you mentioned.
Right.
And they also said that you will no longer be able to complete quests or equip gear that you lack the requirements for. That was another thing. They were worried that, like, hey, if you just lock the ability to gain defense levels on your peer, then your peer can go off and wear Barrow's gloves because maybe that's a bad example. But there's some items that don't technically have a level restriction, but maybe the quest gives you experience for defense or something.
Right? It's something like that.
Exactly. And that's one of the ones that said they're going to have it pulled to see if it should be allowed or not, because that can get dicey. And then they're also going to be adding a prestige and non-prestige high scores. And that right there is where I personally feel like, great. Now we're going to get super complicated because Group Iron Man mode has this prestige and non-prestige and all these different styles to put you on the high scores. And to me, it's confusing. I don't understand. Like, it's too much. It's confusing. It seems overly complicated for something that only a very small portion of people care about. Because we have to remember, the people who care about prestige and non-prestige accounts are going to be Snowflake accounts, but not just Snowflake accounts, competitive Snowflake players, people who actually want to, compete on the high scores. So that's where it gets a bit dicey.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it with it being a little confusing. I'll agree with you on that one. Because there's already like I think 3 or 4 different drop downs on the high scores where you select different, like you said, Iron Man, Hardcore, Group Iron Man, Fresh Start Worlds.
Dead Man mode's on there too, yeah.
That is Dead Man, yeah. But I'm okay with the with adding like level 3s and I guess one. I don't really have too much of a stake in one defense purist, but I'm okay with those only because there are like third-party sites or whatever. I know there's one for like free-to-play accounts where you can see like the free-to-play rankings, and there's one for level 3s apparently. So I guess official support for that wouldn't be too bad in my opinion. But with that also, it would feel like they almost would need to redesign that that high scores page just for those reasons, or I don't know, instead of drop downs, change it to a bunch of checkboxes where, like you said, I want to see hardcore Iron Men that are 1 defense pures.
Sure.
Okay, check those 2 boxes and then it'll load.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And then, but because we have this prestige and non-prestige system, this is where these rules come in place. And they differ from Group Iron Man. So Group Iron Man mode, which is like, play as an Iron Man with a small group up to 5 people. But they have a prestige and non-prestige. And I think the idea is prestige is, boom, your group has been together from the beginning. And, people probably stop playing, but you're still the prestige Group Iron. But what happens is you can bring on new players onto your team and people can leave. And then when that happens, you become like a non-prestige mode. And it just, it's a little confusing, but.
Sorry, good.
Oh, no, if you want to go in. Yep.
I was just say there's also like, I've seen in game where people, because we have the, gray helm, red helm, white helm. And now we have the blue and gray, red and gray, and green and gray.
Yep.
And like that itself is confusing, right? I mean, I've seen it. Well, hey, what's your what does that mean? It's like, are you like a hard? Are you a what are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What does the green mean? What does this mean?
Exactly.
So I can see how it could be a little bit of a slippery slope with like, okay, well now there's a symbol for level 3s. Now there's a symbol for 1 defense. Now there's a symbol for something else that's like, I think they mentioned like you block wood cutting or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not now, but on that point, it's not even going to be a new rank or a new symbol for each one of those. There's going to be 2 for every single one because you need to have the prestige and the non-prestige. So the way the prestige system differs in this one, they're using the 1 defense pure example, but the idea is your account will be a prestige account until you break until you break a rule that keeps you as a prestige account. And what that means is like you'll be able to do any piece of content as a 1 defense peer and you can block experience gained. But let's say you do a quest that would give you defense experience. You won't get that experience, but you'll lose the prestige. And they use nature's spirit as the example because you're not supposed to be able to do that as a 1 defense pure.
I think they mentioned in here too, if we opt to block actions that would gain a player XP and a restricted skill, the prestige system would be irrelevant. So like if they just, you can't use long range, like for your example, or you cannot finish that quest, then prestige, it doesn't really matter because, you just can't gain XP.
So then it sounds like, okay, well, just to flex, is that the only point of it? And it seems sort of, but there's like,
seemingly,
it gives you a little bit of breathing room, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But again, this only matters if you're trying to compete on the prestige high scores. The only thing I don't like is that it's confusing. And I don't really personally care, but if you're going to play this mode, like maybe you should know these rules. So another one is, if I'm a 1 defense pure and I want to use long ranged, great. I'm not going to get any defense experience when I do it. But if I were to gain defense experience that would level my defense to level 2, boom, I'm kicked off the prestige high scores. I'm now a non-prestige account. So I still have like that 73, 83, I can't remember what it is.
83, yeah.
Yeah, so I have that 83 experience to kind of use as a resource if I want to stay on the prestige. And, this is this was part of the puzzle where, if you want to gain HP, there's certain things where you will gain HP experience. But if you're level 10, you have like 1,000 or so experience to spend throughout your account's life before you gain that last level. So something like, I used a bit of HP experience when I was trying to do druidic ritual where you have to kill a rat, it was a bear, because there's no way to get bear meat unless you go to Canifis, I think it is. So
yeah,
with my iron dagger that was poisoned, I was able to stab and I gained however much experience, like 2 or 3, and then the poison killed it. So I was able to complete that quest by using just a little bit of HP experience.
Didn't want to wait till poison dynamite, right?
Yeah, exactly. This was before the poison dynamite. Anyways, we'll save that for the bonus episode.
Right.
Because I have mixed feelings about that. I was excited for it, but it also burnt me out from the account.
The other thing they mentioned in here is potentially changing quest rewards to be like combat experience optional, sort of. Right.
They mentioned like maybe that you get experience lamps you can choose to consume and gain that experience.
Yeah, I think they already did that with what is it, Monkey Madness 1? I think, because there used to be like you'd never see a defense pure with a dragon scimitar because you can't go back to the island without finishing that quest, or something like that. But now you can bypass that and you can go back. So you can get a dragon scimitar now.
Right. You would have to buy, as a 1 defense peer, you can still trade. You would have to go to the Grand Exchange to get one. I remember now. Yep. But if you were an iron with 1 defense, you wouldn't be able to.
Right. Actually, I mean, this is a selfish part of it, but I'm actually in favor of that because I'd love to finish Nature Spirit on my Herblore account, just because with I forget what herb it is that you make super energy potions with, but you need more Mire fungus.
Right. Yep.
And I guess if you get that holy, like the blessed sickle, that's like the only way you can like really do it. Or unless you're chopping those mushroom trees. But if you get your blessed sickle and you somehow lose it, you can't get another one without finishing the quest. So I get 1 blessed sickle.
That's rough.
Haven't got it yet because I'm not trying to hold on to that for years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a little bit selfish on my end. But
it's hard. I'm the same way because overall, I'm like, well, no, you can't just like give me everything. It removes the puzzle part of it. But with every account, there's definitely like 10 things you're like, well, it would be so nice to be able to do this though, or be able to do that, or you know what I mean? Like, because the part of the planning phase and the puzzle part is like, how can I do X? How can I do X? So you have all these tabs, you're trying to figure it out. And so many times I get so close to being able to complete whatever it is I want to do, but something prevents me that I don't have access to. For example, I wanted to be able to kill things on my 10 HP defense Ultimate Iron Man. I didn't want to be stuck using my HP every time I wanted to kill something as a resource. So you could definitely poke someone and poison them and kill them. But you're going to gain some experience because you're going to do damage sometimes. And I didn't want to be stuck with that. So I thought, how else can you kill something? Well, rings of recoil you can use to kill things. Perfect. How can I get a ring of recoil? And it turns out there is no way in game to get a ring of recoil. You can get sapphire rings, but you can't get rings of recoil. So I was like, shit, I really want a ring of recoil. So then I told myself, you know what? Let me get level 5 magic. And Joe, we talked about this. I consulted you and a bunch of other people. How can I do this? And really and you said this earlier, we found out, it's kind of like a team, right? We're all working together to figure out how to solve my problem. But we did find out that, hey, if I got level 5 magic, then I could go to the altar, was it the altar of Rune?
Fountain of Rune.
The Fountain of Rune out in the wilderness, because when you're there, you can use any spells without having runes for it, but you still need the magic level. And because you can cast any magic spell without using any runes, to balance it, they're like, you can't get experience, which is perfect for me because I can go. I'll have to give myself 5 magic levels, but I have unlimited access to rings of recoil. And I know it takes level 7 magic to do it, but go get a wizard's mind bomb from Falador. You're good to go. It gives you 2 boosts, 2 levels in magic, and you're good to go. So that was my way of doing things. And this is all before Poison Dynamite came out. So Poison Dynamite kind of solved some of those issues. But so anyways, this is where I was like pick and choose, because if this was coming out before then, part of me would be like, well, if you can give me Rings of Recoil, that would be awesome. Like we cherry pick the things that we get stuck on. That's part of the puzzle process.
It was actually kind of a kick in the sensitive bits for skillers. They just recently polled. It might have even been in this poll. Should we add Rings of Recoil to the Magpie Impling drop table?
I saw this. Yes,
I think it failed by I don't even know what the percentage was, but I feel like it was really close. And yeah, it just feels like PvP spike voting, right? Because what would that affect for literally any other account? Nothing. They'd be like, oh, I got a Ring of Recoil. I'll just alch it and, I have 200 extra GP or something.
It's a tough one because there is like a big part of the community. Not a big part. I shouldn't say that. But we have a big player base. So naturally we have some people that go, I'm never going to do this. I have no interest in it. So what's the point of even bringing it into my game? It's like, well, there's other people who might like it. But I mean, I guess that's one of the downfalls of the polling system.
Yeah, and that's actually something, I think it's this poll blogger or one of the others I was reading through. And I think it says in here, let me find it. Something like, if you don't understand why we're asking for this, or, you don't need it or whatever, you can always vote to skip.
Yep.
Like there are 3 options on polls: yes, no, skip. I think people kind of forget that sometimes, or maybe it feels like they're not actually giving their opinion or actually voting on it. But I've done that a ton with I Toa came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do have an ultimate that's almost there, and it's going to hopefully be in Toa soon. If I can finish those final quest bosses. Whenever it was coming out, I didn't really have that in mind. So I think I skipped a lot of them because I don't know what I'm voting for. Sure. Yeah. Okay. It should drop, the reward should be, I'm not informed, so.
Yeah. They have this piece here where it's like, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. don't just vote no, because some people really care about these updates, and sometimes they don't take a whole lot of work, but it's not right to just vote no because, well, I'm never going to do this. So do the skip if you can. And so it's tough. I think part of it, people might be a little bit resentful because this was one of the big 6 updates mentioned on the Winter Summit for a very small portion of players. I mean, I'm sure this would grow some of that, but so I think some people are a little bit like, we wanted raids 4 or something, but you get this instead, and people find it as a bit of a letdown. But I think, well, I should ask you, what are your thoughts overall about getting official account support? What, like, is it? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Like, just real general, maybe leaving out the specifics because we don't really know where it's going to land.
Yeah, and I think that's the big part of it. I do like that they kind of retracted what they said initially. And sort of along with that, let me answer first. Short answer, I think I like it. Long answer is more like with a little star on it of like, again, it depends on how they implement it. I do like that they're not, they're already saying, hey, we're not going to support 10 HPs just because, well, multiple reasons. That's a game mode, but also if you consider PvP, that's going to get just crazy.
Yeah, we ignored the whole PvP part of it because people make 10 HP accounts just because you can have such crazy stats, and you can, we have someone in the clan, and shout out to Strosity. He's been on the show a few times. He's got an iron because you can't gain any combat experience in PvP, but he's got an iron with very low HP, high combat stats. And what he does is he goes and he fights low levels who are skilling in PvP worlds. So yeah, the PvP side of things gets a little bit more dicey when you think about like, oh, there could be a 10 HP account that has really high ranged and it could just one shot you with a dark bow or something crazy like that.
Right. That's a whole other can of worms. I've actually been, I put a post into the Snowflake's Discord, and every once in a while in game, I'll come across a 10 HP or a level 3 or something. I've been kind of trying to ask them also, like, what do you think about this? A lot of the feedback I've gotten is like, yeah, no, I think if they kind of go down this path they're going down of like consulting the community, and really being careful with it, that it's probably a good thing. Most of it, I think, comes back to the high scores because, hey, you get representation, right? I don't know. Ultimate Ironman's high scores are pretty small, so I'll look at my own stats and be like, oh, look, I'm rank 4,000. That's pretty cool. But there's only 7,000 players or something, right? But for the level 3s, they're never going to be anywhere close to the top. They're always going to be ranked, 100,000, 200,000, something like that. I think it's kind of cool for them.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I think you summed it up well. I think overall this could be good because we get things like the poison dynamite, which, allows us, it's a pain in the ass to acquire, but it does allow you to kill some things, which is huge for 10 HP builds. It doesn't make things easy at all, which is why I burnt out. I kind of thought it would be a little easy to kill things, and it turns out, no, it's not. It's still going to have to grind a lot of things to do it. So having like the official support, we get things like poison dynamite when we might feel that, oh, it'd be nice if we could just access this one thing. Now, but on this, I'm mixed because I'm like, yes, that'd be great. On the other hand, if Jagex makes some stupid decisions, they could ruin some game modes because you take all the problem solving is removed from it because they let you do some things. And maybe people are listening like, well, you could just not do them. It gets weird when you have rules that do let you do it. And you're like, yeah, I could not do it. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite because you could just say, I won't do this. But having official account, I don't know. It feels a little dicey when you have the support.
I think also, just as sort of maybe a sidestep on just, and we talked about level 3, talked about 1 defense, but something we didn't really talk about is like region locked or area locked or tile man or chunk locked or things like that.
Yeah, and those will all be part of this new official support.
Yeah, and I think that's, I don't know, that's pretty cool actually. I mean, right now I think well, they did change the music system in the game so that, if you're standing in Lumbridge Castle, it's not always the same song.
Mm-hmm.
But in your options, you can toggle that back, and a lot of chunk accounts use that as sort of proof. Hey, I didn't unlock any songs, so obviously I haven't been outside of my chunk.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
And
people enjoy that type of content. You mentioned the regional locked, but the first leagues was locked to Zay, and people loved it. So it does make things fun.
Right. And if there was a physical barrier stopping you from leaving, pick a chunk, right, anywhere or a region, I guess that does kind of that might be nice. But granted, I don't play region locked or chunk locked or anything like that. So that's just kind of me spitting.
Something like being literally locked means you can't. Well, what if I just break my own rule this one time to grab this one item? Like sometimes you might feel that. Same with Iron Man. If you had a main account that had the Iron Man rules, you might be like, what if I just trade for like a little bit of food because I'm so sick of grinding food, something like that. And all I'm doing is saving time. I'm not making things easier. I'm just, I'm fast forwarding a week. So yeah, it is interesting, and I'm curious to see where it all lands. We even got they gave us a survey to go fill out to kind of go in more detail about this official account support, because it looks like they really do want to bring this into the game, and they're not going to let a simple below 75% vote stop it. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. And Joe, we'll have to do a bonus episode because it's very fun talking. We talked way longer than I actually planned. It's going to be a big episode. So we'll have to do a bonus episode because I do want to go deep. We have so much to talk about when it comes to like Swampletics, the content creator. There's so much. A little teaser.
It's a deep dive. If we really want to deep dive.
If anyone wants to get in touch and maybe join the Snowflake community, how could they do it?
We have a link on the Unique Iron Man subreddit. I think it's in the sidebar. If not, you can search and there's a link in there, or PM me in game. Just maybe add all of my accounts. You'll find me on one of them probably. And if not, I mean, this is obviously the Wilderness podcast. So if you're in the Wild Discord, I'm in there as well.
Definitely.
So
awesome stuff. Great. Well, anything else you wanted to either pitch? Like, I don't know, do you stream or anything like that? Anything you want to throw out there before we wrap up?
I don't have anything to pitch. I don't really stream. I would say if you did want to get involved with something like this, well, granted, I'm more than willing to help anyone think through anything. But B, just give it a shot. I mean, you can make a free-to-play restricted account and just see what it feels like.
Find an account that you think would be fun to flex. What do you think? That's why I made my defense account. I was like, how cool would it be to be level 30 with full Torregs? That's where it all started, really. I wanted people to admire the account, which sounds kind of weird, but I mean,
it is. It's bragging rights in the end, sort of.
Yeah, this whole game is really, when you boil things down.
Something completely off topic, maybe, but if you go on the Ultimate Iron Man high scores and look at the Magic high scores, I think it's rank 11 or 17 or something like that. There's an account called Low Magic, and it's sort of the same thing that this ranged account is it's just trains magic. But it's like 11 or rank 11 or something very silly.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, that's off topic, but
and that's I think part of the motivation, and then the fun is the whole problem solving part. But Joe, thanks so much for hopping on and talking to me today. This was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it, Bills.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back after the segment.
After these messages.
All right, we're going to take a quick little break and head on over to the Grand Exchange. Guys, I'm going to try to keep this one short. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, head on over to patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast where you can support the show. We have been recording these episodes live on Discord for our Patreon subscribers, so make sure you link it up if you want, and if it's something you want to listen in on. We try to do it every Wednesday. It's doesn't always land on then, but that's what we aim for. And if you can't listen live, we've been throwing the raw audio up on Patreon to listen as well as kind of like an early access. It's early access and before it's been edited type of episode, just to get it in front a little bit sooner. So yeah, patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. And I do have to welcome B. Hutch to the Patreon crew this week. Thank you so much for signing up and supporting the show. And of course, our top tier supporters get a shout out every single week. So thank you very much to B. Hutch themselves. Double shout out. Oh, gotta love it. Bronze Yawn, Yolfi Ferrick, Daz Sasquatch, Strosity, P. Jackals, Mallard, Spalimo, The Gazi, and Yay Fiber. Thank you guys so much for being our top tier supporter. But of course, I have to extend that thank you to every single one of our Patreon subscribers. You guys are amazing. You help keep the lights on over here at Podcast HQ. I almost said HQ. If Patreon's not your thing, you can send a one-time donation disguised as a coffee by going to buymeacoffee.com/dills. Hey, some people prefer that. And of course, we have a Discord server. If you want to hang out in our Discord, it is discord.gg/thewilderness. And the reason we have that unique URL is because we have so many awesome boosters over on that Discord server. So if you're a fan of Discord Nitro or you just want to throw some love to the server, you can do that and you'll get a shout out as well. So thank you to Toddy, Battle Stabs, Chick, the Sasquatch, Hey Step Sis, or aka No Step Bro, Cosmonaut, Rollin' Wisdom, Twisted Soul, and Twisted Uwu. Thank you all so much for supporting the server. All right, we're cutting it there. Thanks for all the love and support. Let's get back into the episode. Okay, we are back. Our question of the week last week was, when has OSRS bled into your real life? I had some funny moments that I wanted to talk about, but I know Heartless did as well. So we're actually going to talk about it next episode when Heartless is back, and we're going to share some stories of when OSRS has accidentally bled into our real lives. I have, it's happened, and my wife pointed it out the other day, and I was kind of embarrassed because I said something in public, and she was like, nobody talks like that, and I know it's from RuneScape. And anyways, I had somebody reach out as well in Discord to mention a story on their end, and I thought it was funny. But it reminds me of something like I would type in OSRS at the end of all my Google searches because it was usually for RuneScape. I'm like looking up some RuneScape stuff. So let's type in woodcutting OSRS, smithing, whatever it is. And I'd always make sure to get directed to the wiki. But then it gets into the habit where you type in McDonald's OSRS. McDonald's near me OSRS. That's the one that actually got me once. It's kind of funny. But anyways, we're going to wrap up right now. If you have a story of when OSRS bled into your real life, call in, let me know. But and also call in to give your thoughts on forestry, or what's your thoughts on if you have strong feelings about the official account builds. Call in. I want to hear it because it's becoming. I was something that I was kind of interested in, but as more and more came out, I was like, I don't know about this. And I was already a little bit hesitant during the pitch, but I want to hear people who have strong feelings about it to hear their thoughts, because I think the idea of it is a good idea, but it's just they're not pitching it properly. I don't think they're pitching it properly at all. All right. So if you want to come hang out with us in game, it is Clan Wild. You can come join the clan and hang out. Our Discord is discord.gg/thewilderness. Our email is thewilderness.podcast@gmail.com, and our Twitter is @thewildernessrs. If you want to call in and answer any of the prompts that I asked about in this episode, or if I said something and you're like, I want to respond, send me an email, send me a tweet, send me a message on Discord. I would love to feature it on the podcast. But if you want to call in, if you're like me and you're a bit chatty and you want to hear your own voice, call into the show as well. We'll have a SpeakPipe link in the description. You get 90 seconds to say whatever you want, and I friggin' love getting calls. So please, call in and let me know your thoughts on anything. And you know what? If it's a hot take, friggin' send it. I want to hear it. I want to get some blood boiling. No, not actually. But it's fun. It's fun either way. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. And song of the week. What should it be? Let's do Deadlands. Why? Well, it's unlocked in the Haunted Woods. Forestry, Haunted Woods. Come on, you know what's up. It's a music track at the Haunted Woods. Sometimes the description of songs are so fleshed out, like people are giving their opinions and their thoughts and their all of this information. Other times the description is just like, yeah, this song exists. Okay, whatever. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.